One group looks at what you're doing and says, yeah, this is what ICE always does. His guys rounded up 370 people or so. During the Biden administration, they rounded up 300-something a day. This isn't really that different. How is it different?
Well, look, the arrests are a lot higher than were during the Biden administration. And we're out there. We just started this nationwide operation. And right now, in the first couple of days, we're at over 3,000 criminals arrested. And that's a significant impact on public safety. The thing we're doing different from the Biden administration is we're not holding ICE to a lower standard. Under the Mayorkas memorandum, ICE wasn't able to arrest all the public safety threats in the country. Like you said earlier, they had to be convicted of a serious crime. There's nothing in the Immigration and Nationality Act that says you got to be convicted of a crime if you're here illegally to be removed. You can be removed simply for being illegally. So we've told ICE to concentrate out of the gate. As I told you in the last show, our focus is on arresting public safety threats and national security threats. That's exactly what we're doing now.
And thank God they are finally going after people for committing the crime of illegally crossing the border, despite the psyop that the media and the Biden administration has tried to play out and push on people to mitigate and bring down the severity of the term illegal and breaking the law. ICE and Tom Homan are not messing around. It's STUNS here. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing or supporting me with a YouTube membership down below. Thank you to those who are joining my YouTube membership. We're at 11 members right now. Let's keep going, Tom.
The concern of the Democrats is you're going to round up dreamers, and you're going to round up people who have done penny ante offenses, who are otherwise contributing here, and that's too harsh.
Well, look, the number of collateral arrests are going to be higher during this operation for one reason, and one reason only, because we're not allowed to arrest the criminal alien inside of a jail in sanctuary cities like New York and Chicago and L.A. and Portland. And, the majors, the target-rich environments where a lot of illegal aliens domicile, they're not letting us in the county jail because of sanctuary laws. If we could arrest the bad guy in the safety and security of a jail, which is safer for the officers, safer for the aliens, safer for the community, then there'd be a lot less of the type, like you just said, low-level offenders. There'd be a lot less of them arrested. But when you force us in the community, we're going to find that guy sooner or later. It takes more time and it's less efficient than getting him in a county jail. But when we find him, he's most likely being with others. And if they're in the United States illegally, they're going to be arrested too, because we're not going to do what the Biden administration said. We're not going to say ICE can't, because the Biden administration, here's your instructions to ICE. Being in the country illegally on his own is not enough for you to effect an arrest. Ignore the law, ignore the oath you took. You need to have a serious crime. There's nothing in the law that says it, so they're going to force us in neighborhoods, and we're not going to tell ICE to turn a blind eye to an illegal alien. They're going to come too. So the sanctuary city is going to get exactly what they don't want. More agents in the neighborhoods and more collateral arrests while we're doing this criminal operation.
Why can't the president, let alone the federal government, has such sweeping, if not complete, or as they say in the law, plenary authority when it comes to immigration? Why are states and municipalities able to keep federal agents out in so-called sanctuary cities?
Well, look, they'll be taking the court real soon. They've already been warned that federal law overrides any local jurisdiction law. So this is going to be played out in the courts because, they got to understand. I said, I don't know if I said it in your last show or not. I'm amazed every day when I wake up that there's an elected mayor or elected governor or elected city councilman that doesn't want public safety threats removed from their community. They should be working hand in hand with them. Like when I had my discussions with Mayor Adams in New York, he made it clear, he'll help me with the criminals, but he doesn't want to be an immigration officer. I don't want to be an immigration officer. I want to be a cop working with cops and help protect this community. When it comes to immigration enforcement and the non-criminals, leave that up to me. That's my job and that's ICE's job. But public servants, people elected by the people, politicians elected by the people, their number one responsibility is protection of the communities. So I just don't understand, why not let us in tax-funded jail to arrest the bad guy that you already decided to lock him in a jail cell for obvious reasons? Well, when you're done with him, give him to us, rather than release him back into the community, because where's he going to reoffend? In the very community he lives, the immigrant community. So it puts the immigrant community at greater risk of crime. And I swear to you, if anybody went to an immigrant community and had a town hall and asked them a simple question: would you rather have ICE operating in your community or the jail? They'd all say jail, because immigrant communities, even though they're here illegally, after they get here, they're God-fearing family people. They don't want a predator in their neighborhoods either. So let's work together and get the criminals in the safety and security of the jail. It makes sense.
It makes sense for every party involved. And if you want to see specific footage of ICE agents going in, not only raiding and finding illegals that are criminals, but then finding extra illegals near them and arresting them as well, that video will be at the end of this video. I'll have the link or up here. That was one of the best cases I've heard Tom Homan bring up. By not just pointing up the law and how we need to stand up for the law and protect the Constitution, protect the country, but he was even siding with the logic and desires of the illegals in the community. Those illegals do not want the violent illegals to be able to just get re-released back into their community, but a lot of them, I bet, want that illegal, the criminal, dangerous one, out of their community. They want them gone. But because the sanctuary city policies are so extreme, those bad offenders get released right back into the community against the wishes of the very community which the sanctuary city policies are supposed to serve. You have to have law and order at a certain point. When you don't, bad stuff happens even to the people who necessarily don't want the law and order, like the illegals. So for Tom to appeal to that in this media appearance, I thought was very, very impressive. Now, what is the real life impact of this ICE change, of these ICE raids on local law enforcement? Let's hear from an Arizona sheriff.
Are you already seeing a difference at the border?
I think we are. Last week and a half, we had a lot of pursuits, a lot of high risk, a lot of smuggling, trafficking in our county. But this week, it's kind of went down a little bit. The messaging is strong by Border Czar Homan and President Trump. He's got a very, very transparent agenda, and that is if you're a public or national threat in this country, it's going after you, and that's good police work.
So it's interesting. He said that the messaging is having an impact because they're seeing less and less offenses and crime and drugs or something like that. But let's go back to what Chris Cuomo said. He said, hey, ICE throughout 2024, throughout Biden being in power, there was about 309 arrests per day. And now there's 371 on the first day of Trump being in office and ICE having more power and flexibility. So is that really that big of a change? Well, like that sheriff said, it's not just about the statistics and how many people they gather up, especially because ICE is just beginning. It doesn't mean they're not going to raise it up. That's a whole other point. But it's the messaging that is put across by the administration that then engenders and motivates or demotivates and de-escalates more ridiculous, violent, privileged behavior in a way, and even causes some self-deportations. Meaning, because Trump, because Tom Homan are talking so serious about we're going to have you guys get deported, you're going to be out of here, especially if you've done some really criminal things in the country besides just crossing the border illegally, that strong messaging not only is going to have less and less people coming to the border, but it's going to possibly make people chill out in America or going to have them self-deport because they don't want to deal with the issues. So even if the ICE arrests per day were about the same from Biden's administration to Trump's first day, which is just the beginning, the messaging is way different. Now, it could be negative where people start getting super riled up and feisty against police officers. Yes, that can happen. But if the messaging is strong and firm and follows law and order, we can probably have law and order in the country. And if you want to see some in-person ICE raids from the first few days of the Trump administration, check out this video right here. I mean, look, this guy's so excited. He wants you to watch.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
Anyway, it's STUNS here. If you guys enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Got to get my salute better. Someone was commenting that. Thank you very much.